After 3 days of covering various 2020 Olympic Games qualifiers from across Africa, CGTN's Richard Nta now brings us the latest installment on ball sports.
Thank you and welcome to our final segment of our special series, The 2020 Olympic Dream Lives On. And as you can see behind me, the Olympic flame was extinguished this year. Among the athletes most affected by the postponement of Tokyo 2020 to next year are ball game players. We spoke to some football, rugby, hockey, and volleyball teams from across Africa to bring you their stories of despair and hope. African men volleyball champions Tunisia were eager to test their might against the best teams in the world this summer, only for Tokyo 2020 Olympics to be postponed to 2021. Now, with their training schedule disrupted further by COVID-19, team captain Mehdi Ben Sheikh is rallying his charges to remain focused for next year, as CGTN's Adnan Shawalshi reports.
Tunisia's men volleyball captain Mehdi Ben Sheikh was on the verge of fulfilling his childhood dream of leading the North African Giants to an Olympics. However, his country, like almost all territories around the world, was not spared by the coronavirus pandemic that saw all sporting activities suspended earlier this year. The Tokyo 2020 Summer Games, where Mehdi hoped to star, were also affected, with the event postponed to 2021. Undaunted, the talented setter has executed his role as team leader by rallying his teammates to resume training after staying out for months.
This health crisis affected our lives. I've been preparing for the Summer Olympics for years. I even encouraged all my teammates to stay active at home during the general lockdown. It's very difficult for a professional athlete to miss the Olympics, but the morale is high. We should not look back, but rather work hard for 2021.
With 2 core training sessions a day, 90 minutes of fitness exercises and more than 2 hours of technical skill drills, the African champions are back in full swing. Mehdi can now focus on galvanizing his troops for the battle ahead in a sport where Africa is yet to produce an Olympics champion.
We're working hard to represent Tunisia and Africa in the best way. The technical and physical level of the 12 top teams in the world is very high. Our goal is not just to take part in the tournament, but rather to achieve a good result.
Team Technical Director Bassem Fourati ruled the postponement of the Tokyo 2020, declaring the team was ready for the Summer Games before coronavirus struck.
The international health crisis has forced us to think of a plan A, B and C. A, to fly to Tokyo, B, to train at home while waiting for the Olympics this summer, and C, to prepare for the Olympics in 2021. That's how we adapted with the prevention measures.
The Tunisian volleyball team will take part in the Arab Championship next November or December. This international tournament is the first on a long list of competitions to prepare for the Tokyo Olympics. Adnan Shawalshi, CGTN, Tunis.
Apart from at-home fitness drills in makeshift gyms, South African women's hockey has not been able to step foot on a field. Currently ranked 16th in the world, they secured their spot for the Tokyo Olympics when they beat Ghana 6-0, can you believe it, in their final group match. The game's postponement has helped lay down the mark for what South Africa needs to do to prove they are strong medal contenders next year. CGTN's Julie Shire visited the team's first field practice after 5 months.
This team's exceptionally special. What makes them special is the dynamic that every player is in an amateur environment, but they train as professionals, they live like professionals, and they just love the game of hockey. It definitely adds to our drive and what we stand for as a team. As far as I know, we are the highest ranked amateur team in the world.
It just shows you there's always something special about South Africans. We know the fight, the spirit that we have in all sporting codes. We've seen it with the rugby, the cricket, I can name every sporting code. And I've never seen it as a disadvantage. I've always seen it as we can achieve anything.
When I found out the Olympics were postponed, it was obviously huge disappointment, and it was something that we'd been working so hard for, and now kind of the goal had been shifted. But I didn't want to let that disappointment kind of control me and control my actions, and I tried to be positive about it and turn around and say, you know what, team, this is an extra year that we have to prepare, an extra year we have to get better, an extra year we have to kind of be the best that we want to be.
I think the postponement is what we need to look at. It wasn't cancelled. We're not going to the Olympics. So we also found out very late that we were going to the Olympics. We only found out last year, November, December. So we had really 6 months to prepare for the Olympics. And I think as a team and where our mindset is and to go and compete, the extra year actually really helps us. What we've really tried is just to keep the team physically, fit. As best as possible, and in lockdown they were doing home gym programs.
I'm extremely proud of this team. I'm proud of the attitudes that they've had throughout the whole lockdown, trying to keep positive, staying fit and making sure that we are moving in the right direction. After qualifying for the Olympics at our Africa Cup tournament where we played against Ghana in the final, and stamping our dominance in Africa and getting that ticket to Tokyo, it's something that the team really was working hard towards. So now that we have that, it's on to the next goal, and I've got no doubt my team is here to work hard and make sure that we can be the best we can be.
They've been waiting a long time to get onto the field.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. It literally feels like Christmas all over again. So can't wait to get out there and play a bit.
The Olympics is obviously a sign of hope for everyone. I think especially during these COVID times when there is not much hope out there and people are feeling really negative and there's not much to kind of wake up in the morning for. We want to prove ourselves and improve ourselves on the big international stage, and that's obviously the Olympics.
2 medals would be an absolute dream come true. Now winning a medal for my country is just, I don't even know how it feels. It would just be like the most amount of excitement, like winning a medal at Commonwealth. Winning an Olympic medal would just be like out of this world. I wouldn't take it off.
The aim for us is to make top 8 or higher, of course, but we definitely want to make quarterfinal. I don't think it's ever been achieved, so that is the big goal.
It's been a long and tough lockdown for these athletes, but they're rearing to go. They're now placing all their focus on next year's Olympics and are hoping to break into the top 10 for the first time. Julie Shire, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
For any athlete, success at an Olympic is a sure ticket not only for instant fame, but considerable fortune. With little financial support from national Olympic committees, governments, and corporate sponsors, most athletes in Africa grind to scrape resources to give them a shot at the Olympic glory. CGTN's Mohammed Abubakar now brings us more on our special segment, Sport Economics.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Following the outbreak of COVID-19, the world of sport has come to a sudden halt. This is due to the social distancing directive. From football to boxing, archery to equestrian, all sports attract spectators through their sporting events. However, without the crowds, a sport is as good as dead economically. No crowds and pitches results to no ticketing and eventually to no revenue. The 2020 Olympics provided a perfect opportunity for many sportsmen and women to capitalize on their talents. So, how are sportsmen and women dealing with this economic setback? I spoke to an analyst on sports economics to get his thoughts.
I'm expecting all these national Olympic committees to take care of them financially. There is this aspect of their mental health too. Everybody's affected. So you can imagine if an ordinary person is complaining about their mental health of staying in the lockdown. Now imagine what is happening to an athlete that has been preparing for the games. You know, they've invested so much into this, and so that means the Olympic committees will have to look at their trainers, the psychologists, the doctors, and all, just make sure that they keep in touch with them. All the athletes.
Very well said. What do you think would be the future of sports economically in this pandemic era?
Wow. The dynamics have changed. For example, the future going forward will be that things is beginning to move virtual. I can see what the lockdown has done to the athletes, for example. They have been able to increase their brand value by some of them churning out content, sports content individually, and some of these federations too are beginning to sign digital asset contents with some companies. So most of them are beginning to look at this, how to communicate, how to reach out to the consumer directly and use it by using technology.
So, what are some of the arising trends during the COVID-19 times? Let's take a look at some virtual connections. So some brands like Nike started online challenges with their key sportsmen driving the trend. For example, on Instagram, Nike and footballer Cristiano Ronaldo started the Living Room Cup. Cristiano did 142 reps in his living room for 45 seconds.
Hi guys, this is first edition of Nike Living Room Cup. I'm showing you how many apps I can do it in 45 seconds. Now show me what you got.
The Play Inside, Play for the World Nike Challenge saw millions of fans who did the same challenge and even beat the football star.
You guys crushed it. Thousands competed. Millions of reps completed.
So, despite the huge challenge posed by COVID-19, the world of sports can still marshal support of their fans through different and engaging platforms.
There is much excitement around the South African men's football team that will participate in the 2021 Olympic Games. The group consists of young players who ply their trade in some of the top leagues in the world and are expected not only to do the Rainbow Nation proud, but also to challenge for a medal. CGTN CS Duplessis has more.
2016 was the first time the South African national under-23 men's team had qualified for the Olympic Games in almost 2 decades. The squad, coached by Owen De Gama, was full of promise but failed to win a game. Fast forward to November 2019, and after finishing third in the under-23 AFCON tournament, the team known as Amaglugglug were home with a second successive Olympic qualification safely in the bag.
I think for 5 seconds or so, you know, one just froze and observed the excitement, you know, of the players, staff running onto the pitch, and you know, joining then the celebrations. Then it really dawned on one that we've achieved the objective that South Africa wanted for us and the South African Football Association, which was to take the team to Tokyo.
Captain Tertius Malepe, who was part of the 2016 group, is now on the verge of a unique milestone of playing in back-to-back Olympic Games.
Of course, not so many players have managed to do that, of course. And for me, I'll be very, very blessed, you know, to be part of the Olympics second time.
The national lockdown brought to an end any training opportunities. The stadiums were closed, players were confined to their homes, and all the momentum was kicked into the stands, leaving coach David Notoane having to adapt his plans and preparations for the event that would now take place a year later.
The bigger frustration is, you know, having to wait another, you know, 8 to 10 months. It kind of feels like your dream is being taken away from you.
As can be seen here, the players had to commit to home workouts in order to maintain their fitness levels while locked down and unable to train.
This pandemic virus, it was not easy for everyone, I can say, and because, you know, when you have something ahead of you in a couple of 2 months, you know, in this life anything can happen.
With football slowly resuming at club level across the Rainbow Nation, the excitement ahead of the Olympic Games is starting to build again for the coach and his talented squad.
2 generations of Olympic teams, they couldn't go beyond the group stages. So, of course, the first big achievement in breaking our record would be to come out of the group stages.
There's a lot of optimism around this crop of young players ahead of the largest challenge of their careers to date. But for now, it's a waiting game, an opportunity to reflect on a time when training sessions were taken for granted and without risk of contracting a deadly virus. Those days will return, and Tertius Malepe will get a chance to eventually lead his team on one of the biggest sports stages in the world.
It's a matter of us making ourselves and our beautiful country proud and make sure that we compete as much as we can. We're not going there to add numbers, but to compete for the trophy.
Philadelphia Orlando was part of Kenya's Rugby Sevens women's squad that made history in the Rio 2016 by being part of only the second female team to compete for the nation at an Olympics. The postponement of Tokyo 2020 applied the brakes on Orlando's ambition to fire the Kenyan Lionesses to a better performance than Rio 2016. CGTN's Mohammed Abubakar brings us her story.
The COVID-19 containment measures in Kenya has seriously affected professional athletes in the country. For Philadelphia Orlando, the Kenya women rugby team captain, the country's continued lockdown on sporting facilities and events has forced her to adopt a new routine.
When it started, like the lockdown, we were staying indoors. Like, we were scared of what if I go out there and get this virus and get them to my siblings, what will happen? So I stayed a bit locked myself in the house. That's where I identified the rooftop. And I had to be creative with myself also, like I cannot just sit in the house, do nothing. I need to get something going. I need to keep fit also. And I also go to look for some people I can train during this time because it's not easy. I need to hustle at the end of the day because now my income is not coming, you see. And also the national team, you only get paid when you're training. Now everything is not working for us as athletes.
Prior to the postponement of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics to next year, Philadelphia was on a tight scheduled road to recovery from an injury. She recalls the exact moment she learnt of the news.
Actually, my physio is the one who told me, like, do you know Olympic has been postponed? I was not actually aware because I was just praying and hoping that things were going to work out on us. So when my physio told me, like, do you know, like, there's not going to be Olympic this year, then I said, what do you mean? Are you serious? But one thing he told me, like, now you have all time to recover and get better. You don't need to rush on anything. You just need to take your time now to get better.
Despite the personal good news, Philadelphia still feels empty whenever she passes by the national team's training ground.
I miss my teammates, I miss the whole thing here, like passing the ball, getting tackled, like playing around with my teammates. This is something I miss, like 4 months being away from your teammates. You know, we were like a family.
With uncertainty still surrounding the rescheduled Tokyo 2020 Games next year, Philadelphia hopes that she and her teammates will not have to bear any more bad news.
Mentally, I'm not prepared for any sad or bad news about Olympics come next year. I'm hoping that things will get better because it's everyone's dream to be at the Olympics game. And I'm just saying, not only Olympics, because if Olympics won't be there, how about other games? You see, that one will be very crazy for us as a team. And for me, I think it will kill me because I've been really working hard and hoping that I can make it to my second time in Olympics.
One thing for certain is Philadelphia Orlando and the Kenya Lionesses just hope they'll soon be able to reunite as a team and scrum again on this field. Mohammed Abubakar, CGTN.
After a pulsating 4 days, it's time to wrap up our special series, The 2020 Olympic Dream Lives On. We look forward to return in 2021 with comprehensive coverage of the Games. Thank you for watching and stay safe.